Welcome to Spotlight Television, the unique broadcast series that brings you together with some of the most amazing, important, and interesting individuals from the worlds of business, industry, travel, art, and entertainment, from company CEOs to university presidents to the technical wizards behind the scenes who create the magic that make their companies and products and services so special. This is your opportunity to hear firsthand the fascinating stories of how it all happened from those who actually made it possible. Today's featured guest is Dr. Adriana James, the co-founder of the Tad James Company. Dr. James is a woman of force and character, beauty and charm, and an expert and a leader in the field of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP coaching, and timeline therapy. The story of her life is both astounding and instructive, illustrating how hard work and determination can always overcome great obstacles. The Tad James Company teaches NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming. NLP is a collection of techniques used to help provide people to overcome negative emotions and move past obstacles in their life. Dr. James has written a new book on the subject called Values and the Evolution of Consciousness, which explores how we relate to the world and how understanding the evolution of our mind can help us make positive changes in our lives. Please welcome to Spotlight Television, Dr. Adriana James. Dr. James, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. Glad to be here, and thank you for having me.
Yes, it's great to have you here. Let's talk a little bit about NLP. You teach that to clients. It's complex when first looking at it, but I guess the goal of it is to really teach a person how to be the best I guess they can possibly be. Tell me about it.
That is absolutely correct. So NLP is a collection of techniques and skills of the mind, if you wish, which allow an individual to replicate excellent behavior that they see in other people and install that in themselves so they can become excellent and achieve the results that they want in their lives. NLP has been developed in the 70s. As I said, a collection of techniques and skills coming from all from other different disciplines like transformational grammar, like different other things, but put together for the purpose of, in an easy way, to allow an individual to get in touch with, number one, what limits them, and change that in order to achieve their best potential.
So you have a really fascinating story. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself. You know, where you grew up, your whole story. I know you have an incredible music background as well. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
I've been always fascinated with communication. And my master's degree is in classical music, especially violin performing. I grew up in an Eastern European country in Romania, and I left a long time ago. But music to me is communication through sounds, to communicating something to people. That was my previous life before I became an NLP trainer and then an NLP master trainer, and I discovered that NLP is no different. It allows people, again, communication, this time through words, to inspire people, to put them in touch with their innate skills and abilities, because I discovered in this process that I was limited. Here's how I entered into NLP, which is a funny story. I was talking to a lady one day. Little did I knew she was already trained in NLP. And I could say, by all means, I was already successful because I was in a leading position in Australian opera and ballet orchestra at the Sydney Opera House, one of the most beautiful buildings in the world. I had a tenure position, and yet I was unhappy. And so I kept telling her, I'm unhappy about this, I'm unhappy about that, I'm unhappy with my colleagues, I'm unhappy about my relationship, I'm unhappy about my life in general. And I guess this lady had the patience of an angel, because after about 45 minutes of me telling her everything that I was unhappy about, she asked me one question, which is an NLP question, by the way. What would you like to do instead? And my mouth opened, and I couldn't say anything. I realized that I had a very hazy idea of more happiness, a better life, more love, more prosperity. But that was very vague and very hazy. And I realized that, hey, you need to learn something here. You need to do something, because you don't know what your future is. You don't know what you want. And then she said something else. Listen, you can move from place to place. You can change working places. You'll meet new people. But unless you change something inside yourself, you'll have the same experience. And that resonating with me so much, it led me into studying NLP and then becoming an NLP trainer and an NLP master trainer. And now I teach adults the same thing because it made such an unbelievable impact in my life. And I realized that I was holding myself back. And then I look at our students and I notice that they have the same experience. They think they can't. They think that anything they want, it's not possible, or it's hard, or it has to be arduous, or it has to be difficult. And it's not like this. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, because when I experienced myself the change and transformation, and all I did, I changed myself, I changed my mind, I got in control of my own emotions. The emotions don't control me, I am in control of them. My behaviors have changed, and miraculously, if I may use that word, people's reaction to me have changed. And so all of a sudden I discovered new relationships. I discovered that I can talk to people freely and they don't bite. I discovered that I can inspire others to take the same steps. And so this has led me into NLP.
I'm sure it's not lost on you when you think back about your life that growing up in a communist country and looking at that as opposed to now what you're doing, freedom of expression, bettering yourself, speaking, using your language, those are not things that you associate with growing up in that type of environment. So the irony of what you're doing as opposed to where you started, I'm sure it's not lost on you.
Oh, absolutely. I grew up in a climate of fear. Everything, you had to be careful what you talk. There were people that virtually disappeared overnight for saying the wrong thing. Freedom of speech, non-existent. Freedom of expression, non-existent. You had to toe the party line or else, pretty much, yeah? So I knew all about that, but I didn't know that I can let go of fear. See, timeline therapy is an offshoot of NLP that we teach in our trainings and seminars. And timeline therapy is a technique that allows one to let go of the accumulated baggage of negative emotions that we all experience as we go through life, limiting decisions, limiting beliefs that we made, and which mark us in the present. But when we let go of them from the past, we can proceed in a future free of that. Like, imagine somebody carrying on their back a big bag of stuff from the past. They are limited just by that, carrying them in their memories, in their minds. Now imagine all of a sudden somebody takes that away. The person's free. The person is all of a sudden capable of thinking differently and taking the opportunities that life throws at us, at all of us. But we're afraid of even trying because what if we fail? What would people think if I even try? But if that's all gone, imagine how the future could be different. And we can make a difference not only in our own lives, but by changing ourselves in the lives of our communities, in the lives of our families, in the lives of the society in general. And so, yes, it's not lost on me at all. And that's what drives me so much, because I lived in Australia for 12 years, and then I moved to the United States. And I live in the United States since 2001. And I noticed the difference in people's thinking. And also I noticed that as we teach trainings around the world, people have the same problems. People are just people. Human beings are the same. And I'm a firm believer in human potential and in human mind. And it's sad to notice how people limit themselves.
So let's talk a little bit about the Tad James Company. You have a program, a coaching program, which trains and certifies practitioners all over the world on these techniques. Tell me a little bit about that program. How many people are using it for personal betterment, and how many people are using it for their business life?
So, yeah, first of all, we teach NLP in 4 levels actually, to be more precise, 3 main levels plus an additional level on top. The first level is called the NLP practitioner training. The second level is called the NLP master practitioner level, which takes into account the advanced skills of NLP. The third level is the level of a trainer. It's called the trainer's training, which teaches presentation skills and allows trainers to certify other people, teach NLP practitioners and master practitioners. And the additional level on top of that is the NLP master trainer. I'm an NLP master trainer. So in terms of when people come to the first level, probably just about half of the people come there for their personal development. They just want to get more motivated. They want to get rid of the limitations. They feel they want to achieve their goals. They want to improve themselves. And they don't want to take this training. They have no intention in taking this training for developing a coaching business, for instance. The other half of the people are taking the training for career improvement and also for developing their own small business. Maybe they are in a career transition. Maybe they already have a life coaching business, or they want to open one, or they want to use this in a business and consulting setting in corporations or large businesses. And so they're interested in improving their already acquired skills. I want to also mention that in our trainings, we teach 4 modalities. In the same training, we certify in 4 different modalities. So one is NLP, the second one is timeline therapy, the third one is hypnosis, and the fourth one is NLP coaching, which is the application of NLP for career and business.
Yeah, so before we break those 4 down a little bit, let's go back to when dealing with people, and you're saying that, basically what you're saying is people are finding ways to just block themselves. We create our own barriers and limitations. So what are you finding are some examples of the most common ways that people are doing that, putting limitations on themselves?
Well, let's talk only about a very common belief that many people hold, like I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve better. If one holds this belief, it's impossible, even if life throws at this individual the best opportunities possible, this individual won't even dare to try to make the best out of these opportunities, because what's the point? I'm not good enough, so I won't even apply for that promotion, or I won't even try to develop my own small business because I'm just not good enough. Now imagine that limiting belief is gone, is completely gone, so much so that the person cannot even think this way. And so once it's gone, the person then can look and develop new strategies and dare to proceed in life in a different way. We had one of our students in the trainings, a lady from a very large American corporation, a household name, by the way. And she told us, she shared with us something very important, that in order to be promoted to the high executive level in that corporation, the people had to be trained in NLP. Now that tells you something.
So, Dr. James, let's talk about that first level of training. You said your NLP practitioner training, NLP, timeline therapy. But I want to talk to you about hypnosis, because that's something people associate with people doing things that they don't know they're doing. But tell me about hypnosis as it relates to what you do.
Well, first of all, we all have an unconscious mind, or subconscious, is how people call it. And this subconscious or unconscious mind is in charge of most of our behavior. It's not a well-known fact that probably upwards of 95% of our behaviors are not conscious. We just do them. We don't think of everything. We think that we think of it, but we don't. So hypnosis, we teach it from the point of view of assisting an individual to relax, for relaxation purposes, and to relieve stress. We live in a time where pretty much everybody's stressed because of the economic situation, because of the transition that we experience in our society, because of the implementation of more and more automation. The technology is coming at us with a speed that virtually almost doesn't allow us to adjust. The moment we adjust to something, things have changed just like this. So there is a lot of stress we're dealing with. So hypnosis has been very, very useful, especially learning relaxation techniques in self-hypnosis to relieve all of that, allows the mind to quiet down, and allows the body to quiet down. So we teach it from this perspective, as many people, even in the business arena, find it extremely useful.
Let's talk about your music background again, because I'm interested in that. You know, when you learn an instrument, as I know and as you know, one of the things is repetition. You know, you get to a certain point in it, let's say a piece, and you're just not getting it. You could repeat it over and over until you get it. So when you're talking about personal betterment and you're changing your habits, eliminating bad habits, repetition of doing it over and over again in your life has got to be maybe the most as important as recognizing it and eliminating it and then repeating better habits. How important is repetition, and how do you teach someone in this field to be able to repeat and repeat and repeat?
Interestingly enough, when we try to install a new habit, like a new behavior that we produce, like playing a new piece of music, because you gave the example with music, but it could be any type of new behavior. If we try to make that change consciously, the change is arduous, it's difficult, because you have to remember consciously everything. And that's not easy to do. It's like having a bad habit of playing with your hair, or chewing on your cuticles, or biting your lips, or things like this. If you're trying, emphasis on trying, to get rid of that consciously and to install the new behavior of I'm not going to do that again, I'm going to do something different, it becomes difficult. However, if one makes that change at the unconscious level, the change is instantaneous, and it sticks, and it's easy, and it's long lasting. So that's the trick, if you wish, to do the change at the unconscious level so that you don't have to think of it consciously. So you can produce and replicate that good behavior again and again and again with yourself, and then even further, you know, the ripple effect goes. We teach people how to do this with others, and aside from that, to make a good living in doing a good business coaching.
Yeah. When you look at your business and you look at who possible clients are, well, it's pretty much everybody. But you guys are doing this in just more than the United States. You're teaching this in cities all over the world. I know you're doing this in Australia. You're expanding to other parts of the world. What was it a conscious decision to say we need to do this more than just here in the States? Talk to me about how you guys started doing this overseas, and was there a specific reason why, or tell me about that.
So we do most of our trainings in the United States, in Henderson, Nevada. And we noticed that we have people coming to take our trainings from all over the world. We don't only have Americans take our trainings. And then I'm also an Australian citizen, as I spent 12 years of my life in Australia. And I started my own business actually in Australia before I got together with Tia James. And we together founded the Tia James company. He was teaching NLP before that here in the United States. And so we developed the company. We opened up and developed then the company in Australia. And then other students invited us to teach in other countries in the world. And it's the interest. I noticed that it's not only American audiences or Australian audiences. There are people all over the world discovering NLP because they are in search for something. They're in search for something. They're ready to change, and they are looking for new skills, something new to allow them. They feel the need. They say, okay, I got enough of this. I got enough of dealing with my own problems and the old things over and over again. I want to change. And so they're looking for something. Then they get to us and they're interested. And so we did trainings in the Middle East. We did trainings in Egypt. We did trainings in Bahrain. We did trainings in the UK, in Norway, in Holland, in pretty much most European countries. We do trainings in Japan. This year we're going to do trainings in Indonesia, but the bulk of our trainings is in the United States over the summer. The schedule is available on NLPcoaching.com, all our schedule of events, and we cannot do ourselves all the trainings because we have so many trainings, and so we have very, very capable young trainers that work with us in the company, and we notice that in general, audiences around the world are interested in the same thing: how to make a better life for themselves, how to really be happy, how to really learn how to become prosperous. What does it mean to be prosperous? People, in general, have the wrong belief that prosperity comes from outside. Oh, if I only win the lottery, I'll be happy. And that's not correct, unfortunately. But when they learn how to themselves create the results they want, including prosperity, including good relationships, including improving their children's ability to learn, because they all can do this, is based on our feedback from all our students, then the interest grows and the ripple effect grows in society. And that has led us to respond positively to all the requests from all over the world. And it's as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about this, because I'm extremely passionate about human potential. I'm extremely passionate about what people can do. People can do real magical things. And I mean magical in terms of unbelievable things if they get in touch with their inner resources, which many people are not even aware they're there.
Well, your passion definitely comes through. Let me play devil's advocate for a little bit. I'm sure you deal with this all the time. How do you deal with people who say, well, NLP is manipulative? How do you deal with that outlook?
Oh, sure. Can NLP be used for manipulation? Absolutely. Absolutely. Can sales techniques be used for manipulation? Sure. Can any techniques, are NLP, are broadcasting techniques that can be used for manipulation? Sure, techniques are just techniques. They're neither good nor bad. They're neutral. So the issue is, how do you use? We have a absolute inbuilt integrity in our trainings. In fact, we don't allow our students to even begin to think of using these techniques in a way which is not positive and empowering for people. We're very strong in this respect. But on the other hand, if you are able to learn this techniques and skills, you're getting in touch with possibilities. And this is the exciting part of NLP. What if I can manipulate myself into creating what I want in my life, instead of being disappointed for not achieving my goals or for not getting to where I want to go? Because the thing with NLP is that it takes one individual from where they are to where they want to be in a very short amount of time. And that's wonderful, because you can see the growth in people. You can see the development, the potential that's achieved. And so no matter in what industry they work, maybe they don't even take it for their business. Maybe they take it just for their personal lives, for their family life, for their improving their relationships. But that changes and improves into positive, and that's worth doing.
And I'm sure along those same lines, when people say to you, is NLP validated by research? How do we know it creates these long-lasting results? I'm sure you say, listen, I see it every day in the people that we're training all around the world, whether it's business, whether it's personal. You get validated by seeing results in people and how they've bettered their lives, like you were just saying, every single day, right?
Correct. Absolutely. A few years ago, Todd Spite, for instance, one of our graduates from Chicago, Illinois, he worked in IT, and in a downtime economy, based on the skills he learned, negotiation and mediation skills he learned in the master practitioner, the second level trainings, and the increased rapport skills that he learned, he went back and renegotiated his increase in his salary by $45,000. So in a downtime economy, I would say that's not bad. Let me give you another example. A lady called Bernadette Laxamama from Canada. She owns a large mortgage company, and the brokerage company. And the year after she took the trainings, she said most of the months in her business, she doubled the income she was making, and the rest of the months she tripled the income she was making. And last year she was nominated #1 mortgage company in Canada in terms of the success she had in her business. We had 2 parents that came to take our training solely for the purpose of assisting their newly diagnosed child with ADD, ADHD, and dyslexia. And after the second day of the practitioner training, the mother stood up in the training and with tears in her eyes said that she went back and worked with the school psychologist and implemented with her son what she learned in the training. And for the first time, he's been able to spell correctly 8 out of the 10 words she got from the list of words from school, as before he couldn't spell at all. We had a lady from Florida. She was a retiree. She went back to Florida and then sent us feedback, and she said, before this, I noticed that in this community of retirees that I live in, people are sitting on the couch and virtually waiting to die. There is nothing for them. And I decided to take them off the couch and do some seminars with them over weekends and restore the desire to live and to be useful still in society, regardless of an old age. Speaking of old age, I can give you the example of the youngest person we trained, which was a 15-year-old from a tennis school, still from Florida. And she became the youngest trainer we certified in the 3rd level of trainings. She went back to her school and did a mini NLP practitioner, and she taught her classmates techniques on how to focus and how to get rid of the nervousness before a game. Needless to say, the results have improved not only for her, but in general for the whole class. So these are individual examples. But now the second part of your question is the research and the studies. We have some research published. They are all on nlpcoaching.com under the first tab called NLP. But I'll give you an example. In the UK, there is an organization that has used NLP and especially timeline therapy successful to assist people with PTSD, veterans coming from Afghanistan and Iraq, and suffering from PTSD because of the trauma they experienced there. And at some point, even Prince Charles stepped in and endorsed this program because it's been proven beneficial to assist people in becoming again valid members of society. Imagine a person that wakes up screaming every night out of nightmares because of what they witnessed in the war. And because they do timeline therapy, that is released. It's the negative emotions, the traumatic negative emotions that they experience, the fear, the panic, the despair, it's all gone. I know it seems almost incredible, but I stand by it. And every individual that has learned timeline therapy has been able to let go of major negative emotions from the past. So yes, there are some studies, and my question is, if I would be queen, I would make a rule that everybody should learn this, because the baggage that we carry with us from the past, it's not helping us, it's limiting us, it's blocking us, acts like a barrier, and we cannot really proceed into the future to achieve the results and the goals that we could otherwise achieve.
Let's talk a little bit about your book. It's available at Amazon right now, and it's called Values and the Evolution of Consciousness. First of all, tell me why you wanted to write this.
I noticed that people take seminars and courses to improve their motivation, only to end up in a very short period of time, maybe days, again demotivated. And the reason why they experience this is because they get into a state of motivation, but they don't actually operate on their values. The truth is that each person has their individual values. Yes, there are some general rules and laws by which all agree to in order to have a civilized society. That's absolutely true. However, a little known fact is that each individual has his or her own values, and these values determine that individual's motivation to do something or not do something, to judge something as being right or something as being wrong, to judge something as being appropriate or not appropriate. So when people are motivated to vote Republican or Democrat, that's because of their values. When people, the generational gap that's happening, parents don't understand their children's mania with social media and communicating all the time, being in communication on the web, that's because different values. When a relationship between two people doesn't work well, it's because their values conflict. When teams at work are not aligned, It's because the individual values of the participants of the team are not aligned. But if we can, first of all, discover, and there are techniques we teach this, how to discover the inner values that we are motivated by, and we can change those if we so choose, and then align those together with other people, then all that friction and all that conflict disappears. Imagine, here is a good analogy. If you have a normal light bulb, the light goes in all directions. And a 60-watt light bulb can light a big room to a certain degree. Now imagine that you align all the rays of light in a laser beam. That laser beam can reach the moon, can cut through steel. Now imagine that the values of a group, instead of going all in different directions, are all aligned. How is that group going to perform? It's going to increase performance. Values alignment in businesses and corporations have provided tremendous growth for that corporation, increase revenue, increase efficiency, less effort, provide the work-life balance that people so much desire, so that that balance is not tilted in one way or another. That's what fascinates me about values, because I realize that me, myself, and any other individual, we're just motivated by our own values. We're tempted to say, oh, this person's bad because they think differently from me. But when we are able to understand their values, and as well as our own, and we're able to negotiate and align those values, all of a sudden those disagreements can disappear, and we can find solutions in a much better way. So this is fascinating to me, and it's the basis of all our motivation.
Yeah, in your book, just to put a point in this, you had a couple quotes that I love. I think on your dedication page you wrote, "To all those who are not afraid to challenge themselves every day and who sincerely seek the development of consciousness." I love that. But you also said this. I think this is a very powerful statement. You said, "In general, people stick to their point of view believing that everyone else is wrong and must never stop to consider that each individual acts upon their right way, quote unquote, that is, their individual values. This misunderstanding in society of the way we think, not what we think or how we think, leads to the conflict which manifests in personal relationship, business relationships, community struggle, and even conflicts at the global level, which have the capacity to lead to war." Very powerful statement.
And that's absolutely correct. Different countries, different regions of the world have different values. And it's this mismatch that creates the conflict. See, in America, we cannot comprehend, even if at the conscious level we understand, we're cognizant of the fact that a tribal culture from other parts of the world is not motivated for the same reasons that we are. Is not motivated in the same way, and we think, but we should give them our values because our way of life is better than theirs. Who's to say? They have different values, and understanding this, number one, it's the understanding of this, the becoming cognizant, the becoming conscious of this allows us then to negotiate with that much better. It is very difficult to impose on a person your own values. Look, we all of us have experienced the following. We stepped into a store, we're trying to buy something. The salesperson comes to us and tries to sell us with their values, tell us why this product or device is good for us. Sometimes it matches, sometimes it doesn't. Personally, if a salesperson starts to badger me with this, I walk, because it's so much not in my values to have somebody tell me why they think is good for me. I need to think what's good for me, and ultimately I am the judge, and so is everybody else. So recognizing that, learning about that, and then learning how to negotiate and mediate between us could resolve and dissipate and dissolve many of the conflicts that we have. They simply will just go away. But the misunderstanding of that have people stuck on their position and go, no, my way is better because I'm right. well, it's everybody's right in their own way.
Before I let you go, your book is available now at Amazon. But tell me about the next 6 to 12 months, some of the projects you're working on, maybe some of the new stuff you're doing at Tad James. Tell me about what you have going on for the rest of 2018.
We have, of course, our normal schedule of trainings, which happens here in the United States, in Henderson, Nevada, and also in Sydney, Australia. In fact, at the end of the month, I'll be going to Sydney, Australia to teach the NLP practitioner and NLP master practitioner trainings. After which I'll come back here. We have throughout the whole summer, June, July, August, we have all three major trainings going on in Henderson, Nevada, all three levels, the NLP practitioner, master practitioner, and the NLP trainers training. After that, I will be traveling to Indonesia to deliver a timeline therapy and NLP training there in Jakarta. After that, back to Australia for the trainers training and hypnosis trainers training in Australia. And aside from that, we have other NLP practitioner trainings going on in other locations in the United States. We're teaching an NLP practitioner training in Orlando, Florida, to our best trainers working with the Tad James company. Stefan and Shailisha Feitel are delivering that training. And also in Orlando, Florida, we have a master practitioner in October. So we're pretty busy and very excited. I also plan to write a new book, a continuation of the book Values and the Evolution of Consciousness, but that will probably be done next year. So for me personally, and I know that the team that works with me in the Tad James company, Tad James himself, and all the other people, we're very lucky to have them with us. They are all aligned in one of our greatest values that we have for company, which is called transforming the planet. Transform the planet one person at a time. We know that if we want to change something in the environment, we need to change ourselves. We begin with ourselves, and if we change ourselves to produce the results that we want, to create prosperity, happiness, joy, and fulfillment and satisfaction in our own lives, the ripple effect will go out in society, in the communities, and we can really make a difference.
Dr. Adriana James, thank you so much for joining us today. Her book is entitled Values and the Evolution of Consciousness. It's available right now at Amazon. We'll also link to it on the Spotlight Television page. Thank you so much for joining us today on Spotlight Television. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Likewise, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's going to do it for this week. We hope you join us next week on Spotlight Television.